here we have him at the bottom left. Our player won the last game. He's up 1-0 up against Curious. It is MVP Sniper, the MVP player, with the first win, and now facing on Entombed Dweller, the Startail player once again. Starting to the top right in the blue is Startail Curious. And another Zerg versus Zerg, and this time on Entombed. And I'm currently thinking about games that I've casted on Entombed in ZVZ, and I don't think there were too many of them.
There are not very many. In fact, it's a map that Zergs avoid so often that you don't see it very much.
Zerg have nightmares about Entombed Valley, especially when they're up against Protoss players, so they don't really want to play on this map ever again. They just hate the sight of it, so they don't choose it for mirror matches either. It's just like, no!
Very true. This map is for ZVZ. It does have a secondary ramp. So this is a map where we will almost surely not see Baneling Zergling aggression, because it's so easy to have things prepared at the top of the ramp. As long as you have your main ramp blocked and you have a spine crawler at your natural, it's pretty easy to defend. It is a fairly wide open natural, but this is not a map where you very often see players go for that very early aggression. And for that reason, this is not a map where you see players often go for mutas. Usually players go mutas when that Baneling Zergling aggression goes longer. One player's like, wait a minute, I can skip ahead to the next level. It takes somewhat of a risk, but on this map it's very rare to see mutas as well. Not only because of the way that the map is shaped, but like I said, because that Zergling Baneling aggression does not really go on for very long.
This is a map where you can gamble a lot, and we have both of them going for a very standard build, so they start with a 15 hatch. None of them is kind of trying to cut too many corners here. But the thing is, if you want to, if you are in a best of 3 and you are having some mind games going on, if you're only up 1 game, you can go for a little bit of mind games here with just going for a 10 pool, for example. It's a map where your opponent usually doesn't expect it, because it's a huge 4-player map, so you have to have excellent scouting, send the Overlord out early on, and then make sure that you send another drone out as well, so that you know about the start position. But because so many Zerg players start with a 15 hatch here, a 10 pool will give you a bit of a lead. There's the push distance is not small, but you can do a lot of damage with this, but you are gambling quite a lot on your opponent starting with a 15 hatch and you being able to get there in time. So, but you can pull it off. It's just what we talked about, that in the best of 3 you should always be prepared to cheese a little bit, or to just go for a little more of an aggressive opening in order to exploit your opponent's weakness.
Yep. Right now, Sniper is going for a slightly faster Queens.
Overlord Smoochie in the middle of the map.
No one, I don't think anyone's ever made a sound effect for that one before.
We can also talk about the R5. Pod style.
They're doing a headbutt. They hate each other, man. They're like the 2 rams on the top of the mountain.
No. Headbutts are reserved for Colossi. I still want to have this headbutt upgrade.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe with a second upgrade.
Next April 1st, I heard it might be implemented.
as long as they make an animation for it that I can laugh about when I see Colossus headbutting a Viking. That's the only thing I want to see.
Have you seen the new Queen animation? Apparently has a new animation for ground attack. I don't think it's been released yet. It may have been. It may be in that Antigua version of the map, but I heard that their ground attack damage is potentially going to be changed, and they will have a new attack animation. That's really interesting to me. If there's a video out there, someone tweet that to me at ProxyWolf, or tweet that at Calder, because I'm really interested to see what that's like. But hold that thought, as we have a pretty big attack coming in here.
And that's going to be a change for the Queens, with more damage on low ground. I'm playing Mass Queens.
And there's enough to defend here. Both players going for the Baneling Nest and a high Zergling count, so Sniper can't really break through here. Again, Sniper being the aggressor, though.
Yep, he has the Banelings ready. He's morphing the first ones already, while Curious is trying his supply block, as is Sniper. Both of them with an additional Overlord a little bit later, but the Spine Crawler is done. Moving out once again, losing most of his Zerglings here, pulling back just in time. Drone count is, well, even.
Yeah, basically both players made a ton of Zerglings, even made Baneling Nests. Sniper now having to make his own defensive Banelings back at home, and it looks like Sniper is going to be going for the first lair. That's a move that a lot of players make when... this is just not actually, to be perfectly honest, this is not what I expected to see on this map. I did not expect Baneling Zergling aggression here. The natural is wide open, even though there's a secondary ramp, so I guess it is possible to use. Oh, nice trap here set up by Sniper, but Curious is too good for it. Does manage to escape there. Nicely done. And both players going there. Now we could actually have, with double gases being taken here, no Roach Warrens. I think we're going to have Spire versus Spire, Keldor, which is the last thing I expected to see on Entombed Valley.
If you actually have a Mutalisk battle, then the one thing that is really important, sometimes it's way smarter to not attack the drones of your opponent when you attack his main base. Obviously the Queen should be your first priority in order to make sure that he doesn't have the lava, but then just kill Extractors. Try to take down Extractors, because gas is what it's all about in ZVZ, and if you have more gas, that will mean you have more upgrades, you have more Mutalisks, so this is something that you can definitely do. Just kill a few Extractors and make sure that your opponent has a problem mining gas for a while. And there they are.
Yep, double Spire. This is very StarCraft 1-esque here. The reason why this was not popular for a really long time is because it's really easy to defend against Harass with Queens and Spores, but also because the Infestors make it really scary to invest a lot into Mutalisks, but it's becoming more popular right now. It seems like every ZVZ I tune into, no matter what tournament it is... Oh, that was a pretty nice hit there. It seems like no matter what ZVZ I tune into, there are Mutalisks involved. I've seen a lot of Muta on Muta battles recently, on various tournaments, especially in the foreigner scene, in fact. But, ooh, decent hit there. And actually, that's really good hits.
Yeah,
Curious.
They do a lot of damage here. Spires will soon be done. Look at the gas. It's even. 600 for both of them. The Mutalisk count will be exactly the same. And then it kind of depends on which player is getting into a better position.
This is a funny situation. The drone being made into an extractor there to save itself. Curious with winning those Baneling fights. There's little things when you saw that you were like, well, I mean, he won the Baneling fight, but what does that mean? He gets away with his earlings, but it means he can have a third base and Sniper can't. And, oh man, he's going to win another one.
Curious is now committing to all his lava to Zerglings, while we have 9 Mutalisks building for Sniper, so Curious, Mutalisk will be very, very, very late.
He's really hinging on this because his opponent's Baneling, he's run into Baneling so many times, he's like, well, I think I just have way more Zerglings than you, but now the Mutas are out, and this is a scary position for Curious because his Mutalisk count is always going to be forever behind. Does start +1 for his Mutas, though. And Sniper with the Infestation Pit coming out.
Yeah, he transitions into an Infestation Pit right away while we have 11 Mutalisks now for Curious. So the Muta battle started, and Curious is committing with a +1 attack upgrade. Has to cancel his hatch as the Lings are going in here, but with all the Mutalisks around, the drone is dying, but every single Zergling is biting the dust as well. And Sniper is already switching. He's going for Roach Infestor. He has the Roach Warren up, double Evolution Chamber. And, well, let's see how Curious is going to deal with this. He has Spore Crawlers in the making, and we'll see very soon how much damage Sniper's Mutalisk will actually do. If Curious is overcommitting to Mutalisks, he might just run into a fungal and lose all of them, so he has to be very careful.
Yeah, I feel like it was genius by Curious to go in with that Zergling attack at the third base because it forced Sniper to turn his Mutas around, and then he was like, well, now my Mutas are out, I have a third base up, I can even prepare with Spores, and the one thing to note, though, is that Curious does not have that Infestation Pit. He does not have that transition that Sniper has. So, I mean, even though he has the third base, he may just lose it because he doesn't have that tech that he needs. He is mining only gas, basically, from here. Which you mentioned earlier, gas is so important in this type of situation. It's so much more important than minerals.
And I'm a bit afraid for Curious. He's committing to Mutalisks, and Mutalisks only while the first Infestors are building. The third base is coming up. Sniper is doing creep, he's spraying his creep like a maniac. Is getting +1 upgrades for armor and ground for his Roaches, Roach Speed 2. So this is getting tricky. This is getting very, very tricky.
The Mutalisk count's going to be up to 22, which is really, really high. But in StarCraft 2, Mutas just do not work the same way with the Infestors readily available. If you take a Queen's Ensnare ability from StarCraft 1 and combine it with Plague Man, that's what you get when you get Infestors.
Oh, if he runs into the Infestors, that would be it. He can't. Oh, there it is. There it is, and all of them will die.
This has got to be the worst feeling that Curious...
Where are the Fungals? What is he doing? He's running straight into the Mutalisk, and he is losing 3 Infestors. Wow.
Well, He took a bad situation, turned it into a good one, and now, in fact, he's going to lose not only all of his mules, but his queens as well.
Unbelievable. He had too many mules. He tried to split them, and the infestors, they were just not ready. There were a lot of them. I think Sniper lost 2 that still had nearly enough energy to use a fungal, and suddenly he has no anti-air.
No.
He should have won this with no problem at all. With decent fungals and a good infestor control, he should have been able to fungal these mutalisks to death, but Curious just did so much damage, and he killed a fair amount of drones as well, 12 of them in fact.
Well, with the worker count almost dead even though, we basically reset here. There are infestors out for Sniper, he has the better roach count, and the Mutalisk count is still in Curious's favor, but we've, like I said, essentially reset. This is going to be pretty huge though. These Zerlings doing a lot of damage. Oh, flying Mutas with the Spore Crawlers though!
Fungal on the Zerglings ensures that there are not going to be more kills by the ground units, but the tech is what's missing for Curious now. He does not have a Roach Warren, he doesn't have +1/+1.
Yeah, he's just now starting all of these things.
He's so far behind with every single one of them, so Sniper's still in a good position, but he could have won this game already.
Absolutely, he could have. I mean, he should have. And now he misses a fungal, in fact, and his fungals here have been pretty bad, to say the least, to put it in the simplest terms. He's chasing mutas with roaches. It's not working out for him, but he's now adding some hydras into the mix, which will really shut down Curious's ability to continue this. He's now getting roach speed. Infestation pit is up and running. He's got the pathogen glands. He's got 7 infestors. So he's basically turning this around. He's getting what his opponent had, but he's just behind in it so much. So the worker count right now is 70 to 77 in Curious's favor, and he still has these mutas to harass with, but gotta be careful. I've never seen someone so brave with mutas against the fungal. It's like he's counting on Sniper making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, this is really, really scary. If you control Mutalisk and you see infestors, what you usually do is you run. You run as fast as you can and as far as you can, because you know fully well that you might just lose the game, and he is just continuing with this harass. And as soon as he's out of position once, he will lose the lot.
I'd prefer to see him just leave the mutas as like a backstab option, or his opponent moves on the map, he sees it, then he sends the mutas in, but instead he's like, actually jumping into the fireplace, man.
And he's losing 4 of them because of it.
He is going to get some drones here as a result though, and a Hydra as well. No, he won't get it. Not very cost effective.
Nope. All the Mutalisks are gone by now, and this is the time when Sniper should engage. He should attack now. He has the upgrades. He has +1/+1. He has the speed. He has the same numbers of roaches. He does not have the number of infestors, but he could attack right now.
Yeah.
Upgrade advantages on his side, and well, he has also the Hydralisks.
The Hydralisks are really the most crucial part here. And if he engaged, he would likely win, but he doesn't have crease spread. He's actually sending his units across this side, which is a place where they'd be less likely to be spotted, but it was a little bit weird. He's bringing his queens as well, because he knows the potential for mutas, I guess, is there. Although with this many hydras, I wouldn't worry about it.
Just transfuses that he can use, and of course, well, he should use the creep spread a little bit more so that he can retreat with the Hydralisks as well, but still he can't wait for the creep to be spreaded towards his opponent's base. But yeah, committing to an attack right now is definitely a good idea. He just has to be careful about his opponent's fungals. That's really important.
Yeah, this is... I mean, he's sending some roaches ahead here to try to scout things out. I feel like Sniper should win this fight, but it is going to come down to the fungals. And Curious has a lot more energy available to him. The Hydras, though, are doing some real damage now. Here's the thing, the Infestors can't really close the distance. The Hydras at the back adding so much extra DPS into here, but Sniper is falling in supply very quickly. Great fungals here.
Especially because the Infested Terrans do their job, and Curious is taking a huge supply lead. Now he's out of Infestor energy. He had so many more, and he is losing way too much. Oh, nice fungal, catching most of the Infestors, taking down 3 immediately, and this is Curious taking the supply lead once again. He still has energy on his Infestors, and he is just attacking every single unit that is left, and with those Hydralisks still in the mix, the DPS is enormous.
He is way overextending himself, though. He's running Infestors up the ramp. He's left Hydralisks to fight against Banelings and Roaches in high quantity. He's rallying across the map to lose his units, man. This is actually absurd. He had a great advantage. He should have pulled back and gotten away with
the
it.
infestors. Why would you walk up the ramp with the infestors first that have no energy?
Well, it was just a 1A move by him, unfortunately, but he is going to take out this queen with a small group of Zerglings. That is actually pretty impressive. Nicely done.
Very well done.
I'm like, both these players are terrible. Then they both do something cool. I'm like, all right.
It's not really terrible. It's just overextending a little bit. It's just being a bit overconfident, maybe just macroing it up and not realizing that what the infestors actually do.
These are some good fungos here, catching some groups of roaches.
It's actually really close at this point. We still have the upgrade advantage for Sniper, but for how long? That's the problem. He stopped kind of upgrading, and we have now Curious with the +1 armor upgrade. So 4 bases against 4 bases. Hydra and Roach Hydra, Roach, Infestor against Roach, Infestor. But now the Roach, the Infestor count is so much higher for Sniper. With 9 to 2, he should be able to take this.
You should be able to.
This is kind of sealing the deal. Before, Curious had a higher amount of infestors that helped him a lot in the last fight. Now the situation changed. We have a lot more infestors for his opponent, and this is going to be very, very dangerous.
It will indeed. A good fungal to slow this down. Drones are in the mix here. Oh, a great fungal by Sniper, now dropping the infested Terrans here. The Hydra's doing a ton of extra damage, and it looks like he may have enough roaches now to actually finish this one off.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. The supply is still about even, but now he's losing way too much, as you can see. Reinforcements being built. He's pushing towards the 4th. He still has energy on the infestors. So important. Drops a ton of infested swarm eggs.
Oh, I think this is going to be it. Caldor is going to trap the rest of these infestors. He tries to burrow, but there's an Overseer available, and all of these drones have nowhere to run.
Thanks to his infestor count, Curious holds the first attack, but then the situation changes. The Sniper is able to reinforce his army with infestors and roaches and hydralis, and now he takes out the 4th.
He keeps losing his infestors.
Still, it doesn't matter anymore. The 4th is gone, and even though he built another base to the top left, that's the GG. And Sniper takes down Curious with 2-0. Very impressive.
Not what I expected, but Curious did actually look very strong in both those games. He was a few of his opponent's mistakes away from being able to get back into the series.
We've seen Sniper in the past, and I mentioned the games against Sen where he took him down with 2-0, so he's not a player that nobody heard of. He has shown great matches in the past, but still, Curious with his history and his experience, I would not have expected him to lose the series with a 2-0.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how many mistakes Sniper made when he was ahead, that I was like, if he hadn't made those mistakes, imagine how ahead he would have been in these series in both games, I feel.
It's just really hard to control the units Zerg as soon as you start to macroing it up in the huge fights. I think that's what happened with Sniper. But as soon as Curious lost the lead in Infestors, he had just not the...
He couldn't replenish
the substance to back up the second
Infestors cost so much gas that he can remake Roaches and Infestors, but he can't make Roaches and Hydras and Infestors. Yeah. And so he lost his Roaches, and he could never have Hydras with his army. And the Infestor control for Sniper was good enough to where he could always fight with his Hydras where the Hydras weren't actually being attacked because his opponent couldn't move closer.
Both StarTale players lost so far. We have StarTale Ace and Bomber playing later on in the second group. Don Ragu is facing Ace and Zenio is facing Bonga. 2 amazing games. And the Pros vs Terran matches are also pretty interesting, with JYP playing against Jakji and Gumio against Mines.
There should be an awesome lineup of matches for the rest of today.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget, we're doing it all again tomorrow as well. We'll be casting for hours and hours and hours for you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. I am Wolf, and with me is Caldor. Any more thoughts, Caldor, before we close it out?
No, I'm actually pretty happy about the games that we've seen so far, and I'm looking forward to the second group. This is going to be the epic matches that we've been waiting for.
See you guys next time.